Hey everybody, so this video is going to be all about picanha. So we went and got 2 whole picanha roasts and I'm going to show you how to break them down. I'm going to tell you how to slice them into steaks. I'm going to talk to you and show you how to trim them. I'm going to tell you what I paid for them and what we ended up coming out with at the end, how many steaks we got, how much they cost per steak. You don't want to miss this intro video into how we do picanha steaks, how to grill them, how to smoke them, how to make them tender and juicy, and how to enjoy them for dinner. I'll see you on the video. All right, so I got a 2-pack of picanha or top sirloin with the fat cap on at Costco. So I'm gonna do a full price breakdown so you can see how much it costs, what you get for how much, so you can see how much you can save by buying in bulk and doing a little bit of butchery yourself. So that's 1 whole picanha, untrimmed, fat cap on one side, meat side on the other, and I got 2 of those. So I'm gonna get this cleaned up and we'll see you for the trimming in just a minute. All right. So first thing, you want to get your charcoal ready, and I got my charcoal chimney. I'm only grilling a few steaks, so I don't need a whole bunch of charcoal. So probably do just half a basket, a little more, a little bit. Just half a chimney of charcoal. Take a couple of fire starters. Get those started. And then place the chimney of charcoal over top and wait about 10-15 minutes, and we'll see you in a few minutes. Nothing beats that smell. All right, so I got the 2 picanha, the whole picanha roast out of the package. Poured the juice out so it's easy. You don't want to be working with a puddle of blood or a puddle of juice, so I'm just drying it off to make it easy to work with. So as you can see, so it was $71, so we'll say after tax we'll call it $77, just for simplification purposes, for math purposes. So $77 after tax for 2 whole picanha roast at Costco. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be working on trimming a lot of this silver skin, a lot of this chewy stuff, this stuff right in here, trimming all that up. I'm gonna trim some of the excess fat on the outside. I'm gonna trim all of this off, so exposing all of the meat. Then I'll do slight trimming on the outside. And in my house, for me personally, I like to leave the whole fat cap on. Fat is flavor, baby, so my suggestion is to leave all that fat on, and we'll score it before we start to grill so the fat cooks down so it's edible. So, all right. We'll see you for the trimming in just a minute. All right, so we got our picanha roast, and I'm gonna start trimming some of this chewy stuff, this silver skin, this excess fat, this chewy stuff that's not going to taste good. It's not a good eating experience. You wanna get that off. The more that you get off, the better of an eating experience it's going to be. But you want to keep in mind as you're trimming to take off as little meat as possible. See that, just that little bit there, gonna make that nice and good. So here's a lot of silver skin. This is basically like chewing gum, so you kind of want to get that off. And so I'm gonna take my tip of my knife blade underneath that, point my knife blade up, and just fillet that off, taking off as little as meat as possible. Come down here to the side, trim that little bit off. a little bit of knife work, you'll save yourself a lot of money over time, because when you buy pre-cut steaks at the grocery store, you're paying for the labor with this. So, all right, so that looks good. I'm gonna trim some of this excess fat off on the outside. And just nice squared out. You can see the grains running this direction. So when we slice our steaks, we're gonna be slicing it with the grain. So we're gonna be slicing our steaks this way. So when we're eating our steak on the plate, we'll be cutting it against the grain, making for a lot better of a chew or a slice, and it'll be super tender instead of long and stringy. So now I'm gonna flip it on the back side. The back side looks really good. The front side, all the silver skin's off, all the excess fat's off, and we'll see you in just a minute for slicing the steaks. All right, so now that our charcoal is ready, you know when it's ready when you can see the fire poking through the top of the charcoal. And right here, I got a piece of red oak wood that I got from a buddy of mine. So I'm gonna throw this on top of the charcoal. So what I'm gonna do first is just carefully dump out all my charcoal onto one side. And I'm gonna use my chimney to just push all the charcoal to keep it all on one side. And I'm gonna take my chunk of red oak and I'm gonna put it directly over the charcoal. So I'm gonna have a direct heat side and an indirect side. And this is where I'm gonna cook the steaks in the beginning, just to slow smoke them. So we got the heat and the flavor of the charcoal, but we also gonna have a lot of flavor and smoke from the red oak. So I'm gonna leave that there a few minutes, let the red oak catch fire, let it get going. Then I'm gonna put the lid on and we'll start slow smoking these bad boys. All right, so now that I got the steak completely trimmed, you can see there's the fat cap on one side. Fat is flavor, leave that on, don't trim it all off. And you can see the gorgeous meat side, and you can see the marbling that's running through this choice grade picanha. And for choice, this is some nice looking marbled meat. That's where it's gonna give you a lot of tenderness and flavor. So as you can see, the grains are running this way. And if you go to like a Brazilian steakhouse, usually they'll slice it this way because they're putting it on skewers, but when you're cutting steaks, you want to cut it with the grain, and you'll see why in just a minute. So I'm gonna make sure it's all lined up. The grains are running this way, so I'm gonna slice this way to make mistakes. So what I usually do is go a blade width or a little bit more. Make a good thick steak. And there's one picanha steak. And the grains are running this way, so I'm gonna take another knife blade width, and I'm gonna do one blade plus a little bit. And that's gonna give me about a inch and a half, inch and a quarter, inch and a half slice, which is perfect. So as you can see, the grain is running this way, up and down. So when it's on my plate and I'm eating it, I'm gonna be cutting it this way, and it's gonna make a really, really nice tender bite. So that's why we're doing it, slicing it with the grain, cutting steaks. So now I'm gonna go another blade width, and then just a little bit, about an inch and a half. Let's go straight down. That's gonna be a massive, massive steak. That's gonna be for me, because my wife and kids can't eat that much. And then another blade width. I'm probably just gonna call it and cut this one in half. All right. So out of that picanha roast, 1, 2, 3, 4, we got 5 really thick, nice picanha steaks. And we cut the steaks with the grain so that when it's on our plate, then we can slice against the grain. So I'm gonna get this second one trimmed up, sliced up, and we'll see y'all in just a few minutes. All right, everybody. So I got these 2 picanha roast sliced into steaks. So we talked about earlier that the price was $77 after tax, and I actually got 11 steaks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11 steaks, about 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches, and some are even more than 1.5 inches thick, because it's easier to smoke and get a good sear on a thicker steak. But as you can tell, so for $77 divided by 11 steaks, that equals out to $7 a steak. So $7 for that massive, thick steak. You go to a restaurant, that's gonna be $25, $30 at minimum. So you are saving a ton of money just buying in bulk like this, doing a little bit of trimming and slicing yourself. So what I always use is use a sharp knife. I got a new Victorinox 10-inch breaking knife, and it was actually a birthday gift. So it's a 10-inch Victorinox breaking knife, and this allows me to, as I'm cutting big rib roast or big picanha roast or whatever I'm slicing, it's easy to cut big pieces of meat with one knife. So that's what I'm using. Make sure it's sharp. I got a little more of a flexible boning knife. But yeah, so 11 steaks, $7 a piece. It don't get no better than that. All right, so what I'm doing to the fat cap side of these picanha steaks, I'm scoring the fat cap, and what that's gonna do is the heat from the charcoal and the wood is gonna help that fat to cook down and render down and make it just pillowy soft and good eating. Fat that's not cooked properly, that's why I think a lot of people don't like fat, because they don't cook it properly. So if you take the fat and you score the fat cap, it'll help that fat cook down, and it'll make it for incredible eating, a lot of juiciness, and there's a lot of flavor in that fat cap. So I'm just gonna score it. I'm about to get these puppies seasoned up and throw it over the grill. All right, so what I'm gonna do to season these bad boys, so what I got salt, I got ground black pepper and garlic powder. Really, for the best steak, in my opinion, all you need is salt, pepper, and garlic powder. So what I normally tell people is go heavy on the seasoning, because one, too many people under-season their food, and two, when it's on the grill, people fail to realize that some of your seasoning is gonna come off. It's gonna rub off, it's gonna burn off, it's gonna fall off. So you wanna go a little bit heavier on the seasoning, and it looks like I'm putting a lot, but I'm really not putting that much, because I know some of this will actually come off in the grilling process. So there's the salt, good liberal amount, but not too much, but you don't wanna go too light either. Then I'm gonna take this ground pepper and just a liberal light coating. And I like cracked thick black pepper, but in my house, the rest of everybody doesn't like the real thick pieces of black pepper. So typically I'll do just ground pepper because it makes it a little bit easier for them. And then I'm going to take granulated garlic. You can use garlic powder. It's a little bit finer, gets a little clumpy, but I like to use the granulated because it's not as fine as garlic powder. So just a good liberal coating of granulated garlic for seasoning. And I'm not going to show you because I'm going to season the other side the same way. And I'm actually going to take that fat cap and we're going to season the fat cap as well, but you don't have to see all that. So I'm going to season both sides and the fat cap, and we'll meet you out at the grill in just a minute. All right, so as you can tell, I got my damper on my kettle grill. I got it about halfway open. So what that's going to do is going to help control the heat on the inside, and it's not going to make it blazing hot. So you want it open about halfway, and I'll take the lid off, and you can see there's no flames. So what I need to do is I'm going to do this kind of quick. So you got the smoke from the charcoal and the wood, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these picanha steaks, and I'm going to point them, put them in here, and I'm going to put the fat cap towards the fire, but I'm going to put them indirect. So I'm going to put them way away from the heat, and I'm going to put them in the charcoal, or over indirect charcoal like this. Probably move this one over here a little bit. And I want to point the fat cap towards the fire because it's really going to help that fat cook and render out properly so you can eat it. So you don't want to eat raw fat. So, and also the fat cap is actually going to shield the meat from getting too cooked too quickly. And now that's starting to flare back up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the lid back on and let them smoke. So normally I let them go for about 20-25 minutes, but you never want to cook by time. You want to cook directly by temperature. So in about 5-10 minutes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my instant ring thermometer and I'm going to check the internal temperature, and I'm probably going to flip the steaks halfway through just to get even cooking. So we'll see y'all in just a few minutes. All right, let's check these bad boys. It's been about 10 minutes and you can already see that mahogany brown smoke color, and you can see that fat cap on these steaks. You can see them already starting to cook down, so that's good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and check the internal temp. It's been about 10 minutes, so we're at 93 degrees, 83, 80, so these are 80s, and so this must be a hotter part of the grill, but we're approaching that 90-degree mark. So what I'm going to do is, let me get my tongs. Remember, you got to click your tongs twice when you're cooking. So then I'm going to flip the steaks to get even cooking, and then we're going to let them go for another 5 to 10 minutes, and then we're going to check on the internal temp, and we'll see y'all in just a minute. Alrighty, I think these babies are done smoking and they are about ready to sear. I'm gonna check the internal temp, and you see we're right at 100, which is where I want it. You don't want to go too close to your doneness temp because you want to give yourself some wiggle room for searing. Too many people, they wait till it gets medium rare or medium or whatever, and then they try to sear it, then their steak's overdone. So that's 110, so that's perfect. 110, 103, and 103, 104, so that gives us plenty of room. So what we're going to do now, we're going to take the steaks off the grill. I'm going to show y'all a little trick. We're going to put them on the griddle, and my griddle has been preheating for about 10 minutes, and this thing is scalding hot. I'm going to lay it on its side first to really get a good sear on that fat cap. Put it right here up front. Turn it around. There we go. Really want to cook down that fat cap. Take my second steak. And take the third steak. Just be careful not to drop it, that'd be bad. So what I want to do is I want to get a really good char on that fat cap. Give it about a minute, and then we'll sear the sides and we'll take them off. We like medium rare, so we like between 125 and 130 degrees internal temperature. You cook it how you like it, but I take it off at 100 degrees, around 100, 105, 110 degrees. It gives me some wiggle room, so by the time I get to that medium rare temperature, I got a really good crust, really good sear, and it's not overdone. So I'll see y'all in just a minute. All right, so I got this fat sear on these picanhas, and look how golden brown and charred that is. That is perfect. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take all that beef fat, all that juice, and I'm gonna use that to sear the steaks. And you can see the fat cap is cooked perfectly. Man, that's perfect. That's gonna be good eating. And this fat cap on this picanha, it's almost like pillowy soft. So now I'm gonna sear the sides. Just give it a minute or two on each side, and then I'll flip it, and then I'll be checking the internal temp in just a minute to see where we are on our doneness. So what I wanna do is I wanna hit it when I'm done and off the grill. I wanna be between 125, 123, 130 degrees internal temp for a good medium rare. So that's the range we want to be at. We'll see y'all in a minute. All right, so I got a pretty good sear on the outside. That is golden brown and perfect. And as you can see, that fat cap got a nice sear on the outside. We don't like grill marks. We like the whole steak to be nice, crusted, and seared. what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check the internal temp to see where we're at. So right here we're at 107, 111, 110. It's really hot. So 116, this little one's probably close to being done. 125, 24, so that's hot. So we're almost done on that little one. So what I always do, a rule of thumb is when you check the internal temp, you want to take it off the grill to get an accurate reading, because if you put this meat probe directly over that heat, it might give you a little bit hotter temp than what it actually is. So here in just a minute, I'll take them off, put them on a tray, and then I'll check the internal temp. So I'll see y'all in just a minute. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and take this little one. It's got a good sear on the outside. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the little one off to the side. I'm gonna take it off the heat of the grill, and I'm gonna check the internal temp to get a really good accurate reading to see where we're at. So 138, this one's a little bit thinner, but anywhere around 130, give or take. That's 140. It'll see it's already cooling down. We're probably gonna be around 135. See, it's already steady dropping. And that's why I say take it off the heat, because on here, it would probe 140, 150, but right now, when it's off of that hot grill, now it's getting to the medium rare range, which is perfect. So 134, that's perfect. 133, 132. To me, that's a perfect medium rare. 132, that's good. No more than that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these big steaks off, and I'm gonna check the internal temp on them to get a good accurate reading to see where we're at. So that little steak for my wife is done. Now I'm gonna check this big one. 114, that's pretty rare. I'll eat it, but 124. Wait a second, I'm gonna try it over here in the thick part. 127, 129. So I'm gonna call those done. 126, 127, 122, 124, 125. So that is perfect rare, medium rare range. And I got this one for my wife, the 130s. So, alrighty, they're done. All right, so what I did was I took the picanha steaks off of my griddle. So what I like to do is I like to slow smoke them on indirect heat over charcoal and wood. And then I take them off the charcoal and then I put them on my griddle for a hot sear. So now what I'm gonna do is, now that they've been off and they're resting, I'm gonna check the internal temp. So right there, we're at 135, 136, 127, 130. So it's a little bit more than I'd like, but let them rest, and there's some carryover temp. So this one's 133. That one's gonna be perfect. 130s. And this little one for my wife, 133. So that's gonna be in the perfect medium rare range, in between medium rare. So that's why I took them off at 100, so they get into that 130 range for resting and for slicing. All right, so now what I'm gonna do, these picanhas been resting for about 5 to 7 minutes. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna slice, we're gonna check it out, and I'm gonna slice down in the middle first. You see the grains are running this way, so that's why I'm cutting across the grain. You see how that just literally cut like butter. Look at that perfect, juicy interior. I normally don't squeeze it like that. I just want y'all to see how juicy it is. That's perfect, 135, 133 degrees internal temp, medium rare. So now I'm gonna slice it, slices like butter, slices like butter, slices like butter. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a napkin. I'm gonna get some Maldon sea salt, because we like salt in our house, so we like flavor. So I'm gonna take a little bit of Maldon sea salt. I'm just gonna lightly dust it across the steaks. And now we're gonna go in for the taste test. So you got that medium rare inside, you got that fat cap. Let's dive in. Look at that drooling juice. Perfect sear, perfect smoke, perfect crust. That is why I like to smoke it over charcoal and wood for smoke. Take it off the smoke, do a high heat sear on my griddle. If you don't have a smoker and if you don't have a griddle, what you can do is you can use your oven. You can put it in your oven on a low temp, say 250 degrees. And when you get up to your temperature you want, take it out of the oven and you could actually sear it on a pan over your stove if you don't have a smoker or a griddle or anything like that. There's multiple ways to do this, but perfectly smoky. You can see it just uber juicy. And you can see for 70 bucks, me and my wife are getting to eat a massive dinner tonight. So my wife's getting the small one. I'm actually getting the 2 big ones for my dinner tonight because I'm a big carnivore guy. I'm a big low carb guy, so that's all I'm eating for today. And over here, we're gonna vacuum seal these, and I still got 2 full meals for 4 people, for me and her and the kids, 2 full meals left over. So we get 3 total massive steak meals for our family for only $70. You cannot beat that. So, oh, and also the fat. She keeps wanting me to talk about the fat. So the fat, what I'll do is I'll put that in a bag and put that in the freezer, and you can use it for ground beef. You can use it and you can slow cook it in the oven and make your own beef tallow. So, hey, thanks for joining me. This is my take on the perfect steak on the planet. Slow smoke and then seared on a hot griddle. That's how you make the perfect picanha. Hey everybody, so thanks for joining me. Thanks for tuning in and watching this video. So this YouTube channel that I just started is going to be called Cooking with Truett, and basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm just sharing my love for food with the world. This video is going to be solely based on sharing tips and tricks and how-tos, and we're going to be doing meal planning. We're going to be talking about everything food, full-scale recipes from start to finish, from farm to table. So I just wanted to, document my life and document my love for food and good food, baby. So, hey, Chelsea, if you can get a peek on this. So see how this picanha turned out. Just perfectly medium rare, juicy, perfect, seared and charred. So anyway, thanks for joining me, and I hope you see you on the next video. And like and subscribe and share this channel with your friends, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.